Then, before I jump into all the actual practical wisdom from Ayurveda, what should be done, let me go through quickly about some important facts about Ayurveda for people who are new to this system. So, Ayurveda is a traditional system from India, traditional system of medicine from India. It is very old. It is quite ancient, more than 5,000 years old. In fact, it is considered as the mother of all modern day healthcare systems. It is holistic in approach. There is a natural, it is a completely natural way of healing and bringing health to oneself. It also addresses the root cause of the problems. In Ayurveda, we do not talk about treating symptoms, and just superficial treatments are not the way. We focus on removing the root cause that caused the symptoms actually. So it is quite um based on the fundamentals of the five elements. Another important aspect is Ayurveda is a tailor-made system of healthcare that focuses on individuality, that focuses on unique composition of individuals. That means to say that some recommendations and lifestyle which might suit you, they might not suit me, so on and so forth. So a very scientific approach is adopted here. Another thing that is mentioned here in Ayurveda is the relationship between microcosm and the microcosm. And this is something that brings this connection that makes us aware that we are part of this um nature, especially very relevant at this moment of crisis where we understand that how the nature is um, playing its uh, games with us. So we have to be more cautious and we have to be more responsible, because whatever is outside in the world is inside of our body. That is the wisdom from Ayurveda. For instance, the sun. The sun is a source of energy for the whole creation, right? So it is represented as fire or the Agni or the digestive fire in our body. Similarly, the air element in this nature, which is responsible for transport and in the body, the Vata dosha. Vata dosha can be compared to the air and space element in the nature. So, once we understand that we are a miniature form of the world, or the world resides in us in miniature form, we will be in more sync with the nature and we will be more um, uh, responsible. Another important thing is Ayurveda talks about treatment of the whole mind and the body together. So now it is almost everywhere in the world, people are talking about the mind body complex and how uh, a healthy body is needed for and the healthy mind, they go together, and then they have, in order to have a healthy body you need to have a healthy mind, and this basic wisdom has come from 5,000 years ago. Another important part which is seen in Ayurveda is rejuvenation and revitalization. So, what is rejuvenation? Rejuvenation is helping to support our body metabolism, body mechanism, so that we remain healthy for a longer time. A system wherein we help every aspect of our physiology, whether it is tissue building or whether it is keeping the digestion healthy and optimum, keeping the mental health good, and all these rejuvenation and revitalization is an approach which is not so popular in the modern system. So, this is also very unique to Ayurveda. And how do we implement Ayurveda? So, that is not a linear system of healthcare. It doesn't say, okay, you just have to do this. So, there are millions of ways with which we can apply Ayurveda into our life, because Ayurveda is, it is just a science of life. So, what all you are basically doing in a day to day life, if we just make these simple modifications here and there, maybe, then we can bring in a lasting change. So, ranging from lifestyle modifications, diet changes, daily and seasonal regimens, yoga routine, meditation, herbs, some detox programs, massages, therapies, counseling. There are so many different ways elaborated in Ayurveda with which we can bring in a state of health in our system. So, in a nutshell, Ayurveda describes everything that sustains life, right from conception to birth, to growing up, to diet, lifestyle, behavior, disease prevention, health promotion, as well as management of diseases. So, I like to call it as a life manual. It is, like when we bring in an electronic item, a television or a washing machine, we get a manual to go along with it so that we know how to use it, and if there are minor problems, how to set it, how to deal with it, and how to when to call the doctor, and if we can make minor repairs on our own, so on and so forth. So I our human system is such a complex mechanism. There are so many things happening at every moment. So, Ayurveda is a gift from the ancient scholars or sages, as we call them, rishis from India, who have given this wisdom which is like a manual for life. So, if we want to know, okay, how should I be following my daily routine so that I can be healthy? Okay, that is preventive. That is the first aspect of Ayurveda, prevention. Swasthasya swasthya rakshanam. So Ayurveda talks in detail about how to keep oneself healthy. And then if nothing works, if you have anyway fallen sick, of course talks about how to cure those problems and bring in a state of balance. So, with that information on Ayurveda, this slide I have put together just to make us think on what has happened, what have we been doing all these years. We will agree that last few decades have seen immense advancement in terms of technology, in terms of industrialization and facilities. Everything has improved a lot. Of course, the economies have really become prosperous. We have become so powerful as a nation. Everything, but at what cost is the question. Our life has become so fast paced. We don't have time for anything. We don't have proper time to eat. We are eating on the go. We don't have time to sleep. In fact, sleeping patterns are so irregular. We do not exercise. We do not do anything to take care of our health. So, this is a serious matter of concern, I feel, because as we see some of the statistics of medicine, because we have seen that, of course, the medicine has advanced, the number of hospitals and the techniques and everything has improved a great deal, but that has not helped in bringing down the number of people who are falling sick globally. The number of people who are falling prey to more and more diseases is increasing. it is there is no end to it. The hospitals are increasing, so are the number of people who are falling sick. So it doesn't make sense, actually speaking. Now, if we look at these diseases, so the leading cause for death in the world, first cause is cardiovascular diseases, and the second cause is cancer. These are the first and second causes for global death, and both of them are lifestyle related disorders. So this shows that somewhere we are going wrong in the basic fundamentals of how we deal with our life. So this is the time to, do this introspection when nature is imposing this quarantine on us, this strict quarantine. Everybody is at home. We should see it as a blessing, I feel, since everybody is at home, we can take this adverse situation in a positive stride and see that now finally we have all the time to take care of ourselves and our family's health. So this positive approach will take us a long way. Since everything is in it together, economies will fall down. I'm sure the people are already looking at their stock market shares and everything. Economies will fall and rise together. But we as world family will definitely survive this phase and become stronger and healthier after this. This has to be our approach. This can be our approach. And if we are seeing this whole situation of self imposed quarantine or government imposed lockdown, this will really help to get out of this situation faster and a more better way. So let's take a plunge to reset our health first at this time. Now, coming back to immunity. So, let us see what are the factors that reduce immunity as per Ayurveda. Number one is a weak digestion. In Ayurveda, there is a very important factor which is called as Agni or the digestion. It is the metabolism of the body. So, if we have a strong digestion, a strong metabolic power or capacity, we have a strong immune system, strong defense mechanism, and vice versa. If we have a low digestion, we have very weak immune system. The second factor is toxin accumulation. Toxins are nothing but when we have a compromised digestive system, then the body is not able to digest the food properly. So, undigested waste, as you can call it, start circulating in the system. They are termed as toxins, they are heavy and they are like they're sticky and heavy, and that is what is referred to as ama or toxins in Ayurveda. So it is not too much to do with external, pesticides or anything that you are consuming as toxins, but it is more to do with how your body is responding to the normal food and everything. The last factor is stress. So now we know that stress is actually a mechanism which is given to the body to help us survive emergency situations. So it is like an SOS, when there is some problem, some emergency situation, stress comes into picture. The hormones that are related to stress, when they are released, the cortisol hormone, when they are released in the circulation, then the body reacts uh, in a different way. It is for survival. And when that is happening, the whole energy is put into, there is a lot of inflammation and there is a lot of, the body becomes full in charge of this present situation. So at that time, there is no focus on the body's immunity. So the body, so our system becomes vulnerable to any opportunistic infections. So that is how stress lowers the immunity. So we have to make sure our stress levels are low. It is not, we are not in a constant state of stress. That is the problem nowadays. So keeping a good digestion, not allowing toxins to accumulate in the body, and keeping our mind stress free should be the aim during this period, so that we can achieve the best immunity possible. Now, before we do go into the details of food and lifestyle, there is another very interesting thing that we should also consider. That is the current time of the year. Now, most countries in the northern hemisphere are in spring or moving to the spring season. So, as we see it in Ayurveda, uh, when the change, there are physiological changes happening with the elements in the nature, so also inside of our body. So in the nature we see that the trees start blossoming. That means there is revival of nourishment, and then the nature becomes beautiful. There is a lot of beauty that comes back after a dry winter. In our human body, a similar thing happens. In the winters, in the cold winters, there is a natural tendency of eating a lot. So, all the holiday season and the Christmas and New Year's and the winters as such, the cold season gives us uh, a very good digestive capacity. So, people generally tend to have heavy food because they can digest it. Also, heavy oily foods are grounding during the vata predominance of the winter season. So, but as a result, when we are balancing the vata, what happens? The kapha, the heavy elements in the body, the earth and water elements, they are slowly getting accumulating. They're slowly accumulating in our system. So they are in consolidation. So because they're having so much of oily and heavy stuff, so slowly our body is accumulating kapha in the body. Now, when spring sets in, what happens? When the spring sets in, we see there is sun, right? Nice sunshine, and with the sunshine, this consolidated or solid kapha in the body starts to melt. Something similar in the nature. When it starts to melt, then we see there is excess of phlegm and mucus formation which is flowing in our channels, especially in our respiratory system, in our sinuses. So we have running nose and uh, all of this phlegm and cough and all these things, the body starts reacting. And because of this excess phlegm and mucus, the same thing, when it affects the digestion starts becoming weaker. It becomes sluggish. Just imagine you are putting more uh, mud or water on your fire, so it will start to extinguish. So something like that is happening during the spring season. So the digestion, which was very good at its peak in the cold winter season, now from the spring season until the summer season, slowly it will start becoming weaker and weaker. So, due to all of this, there is a general feeling of tiredness, heaviness, dullness. Because kapha is what? Earth and water elements. They are the heavier elements which have the qualities of cold and moist and dull and sticky. So, all these qualities start increasing, and this leads to, uh, of course, more phlegm and mucus formation and also weaker digestion. So, what should be done during this time? It's of course fasting. Fasting or is a way to eat light foods so that we are giving time to the digestive system to cope up with the situation. So, and we are not overloading the digestion. Fasting and detox, a mild detox, so that we are getting rid of this excessive accumulation of kapha in the body, which is which easily affects the respiratory system and the head and neck region and the digestion. So, why this came into picture? Now we are seeing that the virus is taking, it is spreading even more during the spring season. So we have to be even more cautious, more careful, because already in normal scenario there are people who have spring allergies, hay fever, especially during the spring season because of the reason I just mentioned. So that makes this virus even more stronger and more deadly, because already there is a weakness for people in the respiratory system and the kapha and everything, and that can also aggravate the situation. So we have to be careful and we have to take even more precautions to make sure our digestion is better and we do not add to the kapha buildup during this phase of coronavirus.